When the forces of evil assault this quintessential American lifestyle, that's a case for Darrel Dawkins, Trailer Park Detective. Tonight, join us as Darrel Dawkins, Trailer Park Detective, investigates the case of the Pesky Poltergeist.
It had been fairly quiet all day. You might even say ghostly quiet. Very unusual for Halloween. Halloween is to detectives what St. Patrick's Day is to bartenders. Yet, if it hadn't been for a couple of trick-or-treaters, I could have stayed home altogether. Nevertheless, I knew something was going to happen. I felt it in my bones. And before long, I wasn't disappointed. Hello?
Hello, is this Darrel Dawkins?
Yeah, this is Dawkins. Your mouse is wanted? Felony or misdemeanor?
No, the house is haunted.
Oh, your house is haunted.
That's right.
Okay, I'll be right over. The call was from a guy named Roger. He lived in a nearby trailer park I had visited before. Of late, items in his single-wide had been changing location or disappearing altogether, and he was convinced that his house was haunted. What a perfect case for Halloween. Although it was now late in the afternoon, I agreed to take the assignment, even though I was planning to attend a costume party later that evening. Hoping for a quick resolution, I gunned my motorcycle and headed out to investigate. As I drove through the main gate, I was struck by the extensive Halloween decorations that were displayed throughout the community. It seemed every home had an expertly carved jack-o'-lantern on its front steps. Yards were festooned with scarecrows, skeletons, ghosts, goblins, ghouls, and witches in realistic scenes that gave one the feeling of being in a real-life Disney Haunted Mansion ride. One humorous effect had a life-size witch face-planted on a palm tree about 8 feet off the ground as though she had accidentally run into it while flying on her broom. Particularly gung-ho residents placed stereo speakers in their windows, from which emanated a profusion of moans, howls, shrieks, clanking chains, maniacal laughs, rattling bones, and spooky organ music. The din was simultaneously breathtaking and overwhelming. Man, these folks were really into it. I pulled up to the community office to let the manager know I might be snooping about. I was glad to be able to step inside for a respite from the audio effects. The community manager looked up from her desk as I entered. Good afternoon, I'm Darrel Dawkins.
Well, Darrel Dawkins, I've heard of you. You helped a psychic find her missing husband, right?
As a matter of fact.
Well, what brings you to our little community, Detective?
One of your residents thinks his house is haunted.
Really? This is the first I've heard of it.
Well, usually it's just a case of overactive imagination or failing memory. But I should think a real haunting would be big news in this neighborhood.
Don't let the decorations fool you, Detective. A real-life ghost would not be all that welcome here. So I hope you solve this thing quickly before too many people find out about it. Besides, I have a costume party to get to this evening, and I really want to be there on time.
Well, I'll see what I can do. Just wanted you to know I might be snooping around a bit.
I appreciate that, Detective. Good luck.
With that, I was back out into the wash of Halloween sound effects, headed for Roger's haunted trailer. When I approached, he was out in his front yard adjusting a fully articulated skeleton into a threatening pose from the movie The Mummy.
You must be Detective Dawkins. Thank you so much for coming so quickly.
No problem, Roger. So tell me, why do you think your home is haunted?
Well, for starters, things seem to move on their own.
Do you actually see them moving?
No, but I do put my pocket change on my dresser at night. And in the morning, the coins are moved from where I left them.
Is it possible you're just misremembering?
No, I'm only 55, you know. That's really not very funny. My memory's not that bad. And sometimes things disappear altogether.
What sort of things?
You know, all kinds of odds and ends. Coins, buttons, thimbles. my clip-on sunglasses, things like that.
Really? And you think it's a ghost that's doing this?
Could be.
A ghost that wears clip-on sunglasses and needs laundrette money to wash his sheet.
Well, when you put it that way. But what about the sounds I hear, scratching and clicking in various parts of the house?
That's very interesting, Roger. Do you ever hear these sounds in the walls?
Yes, sometimes. And sometimes I smell strange odors. And what about this? Every once in a while, the lights flicker on and off and on and off. What about that?
Look, I don't know what this is, but I'm pretty sure I know what it isn't. Let me investigate a little more, and I'll tell you what I find out.
Thank you so much, Detective, and I hope you solve this quickly. I have a costume party to go to this evening.
There had to be a simple explanation for all this ghostly behavior. I approached the double wide of the neighbor next door and knocked.
What do you want?
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Darrel Dawkins, trailer park detective. I'm investigating some strange goings-on in Roger's home of late. May I ask, have you experienced anything out of the ordinary in your home recently?
No, but I'm not surprised to hear that strange things are happening here.
What do you mean?
I make my living as a dowser detective. I have a gift that allows me to locate water and iron under the soil. I have long suspected that this community lays on one of the Earth's force lines. The kind of incidents you're referring to often occur where such force lines intersect.
I see.
And people who are psychically sensitive, as I have long suspected Roger to be, often experience a higher incidence of such events.
And you think that's what's happening here? The force is with Roger.
Yes. There are still many things we do not understand about the universe, Detective.
Uh-huh. Well, thank you. If I have any additional questions, may I stop back?
Yes, if I'm here, but you better make it quick. I have a costume party to go to tonight.
Will do. You meet all kinds in this business, but at least she didn't suggest it was a ghost. I wondered if she would have been surprised to learn that the psychically sensitive Roger thought it was a ghost. A quick span of the area suggested that the neighbor living on the other side of Roger was my next best bet. I rang the doorbell.
Boom, boom. Oh, hi. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Darrel Dawkins, trailer park detective. I'm investigating some strange happenings that have been taking place in Roger's home.
Well, I'm Karen Green. What kind of strange happenings?
Oh, objects that seem to move on their own or disappear, missing coins, buttons, symbols, clip-on sunglasses, stuff like that.
Gee, I don't know that I could help you there, Detective.
Well, may I ask you a few more questions, Miss Green?
Okay, but please make it quick. I'm in the middle of getting ready for a costume party this evening.
Uh-huh. So what is it you do for a living, Miss Green?
I'm a grad student at the university. I'm getting a PhD in zoology.
I see. And what is your thesis on?
Specific behaviors of certain members of the rodentia.
You're studying rats.
Technically, yes, but not the kind of rats you may be thinking of. My interest lies with the members of the genus Neotoma.
Neotoma floridana, I suspect.
Yes, but how did you know?
And unless I miss my guess, you've been keeping some live specimens here.
Oh my gosh, Detective, I have. But if this ever gets out, I could be in big trouble. Please don't tell anyone.
And speaking of getting out, I suspect that one of your subjects has escaped and you can't find it.
Oh no, please, Detective Dawkins, what can I do? I could lose my lease over this, and that would throw a real monkey wrench into finishing my research in time for next spring's graduation.
I hated to see her years of research in jeopardy, not to mention losing her home. Fortunately, I thought of a way to protect her and still fix Roger's problem. The solution included telling Roger the truth about what was causing the strange events in his house, but avoiding the specifics of Karen's role in it. When I explained it to her, she jumped at the chance to put things right. I headed back to Rogers to tell him the good news.
My goodness, Detective Dawkins, you're back already. Well, have you exorcised my ghost?
In a manner of speaking. But first of all, it's not a ghost.
It's not?
No. Roger, this is probably a rhetorical question, but are you familiar with Neotoma floridana, the eastern wood rat?
No. Why?
The eastern wood rat, Neotoma floridana, is a pack rat, native to the central and eastern United States. Its range extends from southeastern New York all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. And in the southern states, it often lives in holes in the ground or in hollow trees.
I see. But what of it?
Pack rats are nest builders, which they construct from plant material such as branches, twigs, and sticks, along with other available debris. To find this material, they get into everything from attics to car engines, stealing things and damaging electrical wiring. They can also be quite vocal and boisterous.
Go on, Detective.
A peculiar characteristic is that if they find something they want, they will drop what they are currently carrying and trade it for the new item that has just caught their attention, and they are particularly fond of shiny objects.
I understand, Detective. But how does that affect me?
I believe you have one living in the walls of your house. In fact, I'm pretty much certain of it. Think about it. It explains everything. The moved items, the missing items, the noise in your walls, even the smells.
But how do you know all this?
As Darrel Dawkins, trailer park detective, it's my job to know.
So what do I do? What do I do?
I've taken care of that. I've engaged a professional zoologist to live track the pack rat in your wall. Once that's done, we can locate its nest and retrieve your missing items.
Detective Dawkins, thank you so much. And just in time for me to leave for my party.
When the forces of evil assault this quintessential American lifestyle, that's a case for Darrel Dawkins, Trailer Park Detective. Join us next time when Darrel Dawkins, Trailer Park Detective investigates the case of the profane parrot.